Today on Comm Talk, we're talking about Baby Yoda. I mean, the Mandalorian.
Baby Yoda.
Okay, what is happening here?
Where are we?
Glix, give us a situation report.
Currently, we are on the planet Geekery. Be warned, our impossibility drive may cause distortions as we traverse this land. Impending impossibility engaging in 3,
Oh, gosh.
2,
Oh, dear.
1.
Hi, I'm Francisco from the Retro Rewind podcast, and as always, I'm joined by...
I'm Paul J. Powers, and they call me the Master Interrupter.
Yeah, I wonder why.
It doesn't matter, because you're listening to Comm Talk.
Comms returning to normal stasis in 3, 2, 1.
Hello, Devoted Geeks. Welcome to Comm Talk, the podcast extension of Geek Devotions, a show from Devoted Geeks. They're devoted to letting people know that they're loved. This is episode 66. Oh my God, it's order 66.
Oh my God.
I didn't even think about it.
This was so perfect and we didn't realize it.
Accidental things. Hey guys, this is our podcast where our podcast is a little strange sometimes. Sometimes we're organized. Sometimes it's a little bit random.
A lot of times we're a little bit random.
Right, I forgot. I'm sorry. Let me introduce the beautiful voice that you're listening to. Celeste, hello.
The soothing sounds of Celeste.
So Celeste and I have been watching The Mandalorian.
Yes, and when I just realized today, because I was like, I wonder how many more episodes we have. Mm-hmm. We have 3.
What?
We're over halfway through the series.
Oh my goodness gracious. So we're watching The Mandalorian, and so we're going to talk about what we've liked and didn't like. We've done a couple of episodes like this in the past. We did The Gifted.
Yes.
A couple other things. We did, what was that series that we liked that nobody else liked?
Inhumans.
Inhumans, yeah.
I loved the Inhumans so
Right.
much.
So, but we're talking about The Mandalorian. So, with these kind of episodes, we have to go spoiler alert.
Yes.
There will be spoilers in this episode. We're going to try to break it up real quick. The first half, we're going to talk about just the general concept of the Mandalorian, who he is, what's going on, and then we're jumping spoilers, which is going to be really quick.
Yes. So, if you have not seen The Mandalorian and you do not want it spoiled, you might want to hit pause
And
go get that week trial.
right and binge it. Well, I don't know. Maybe they should wait another
They
couple
should
weeks.
wait until the end of the month because it's going to be over by the end of the month.
I have to wonder how many people are going to do that. How many people are going to get the week trial just to binge The Mandalorian?
I'm pretty sure a lot of people.
I know some people do it with Titans. Mm-hmm. All right. Well, let's get into this. So first off, The Mandalorian. What is The Mandalorian, Celeste?
It's a bounty hunter.
He's a bounty hunter?
So, and unlike what I thought that this was going to follow Boba Fett or Jango.
Right.
One of the two. I thought that that's what this was going to be.
I did too, to be honest. At all. I've learned a lot from this series.
I have too. It's set post Empire Strikes Back. Is
Right.
that the third?
Post
Episode 6?
Is it Empire Strikes Back or is Return of the Jedi? I think it's Return of the Jedi.
It's Return. I always get the names mixed
I
up.
know.
Episode 6.
Episode 6 or the third movie in the series.
Well, it's the third movie in the series, and it's episode 6.
Right.
It's both.
It takes place between that and the modern series.
Yes, the reboots.
It's like 20 years later, something like that. 10 years later.
I don't know. I'm getting the impression that it's not. I'm thinking we're like 5 years out. Like, I think that this is still early on in everything.
Right.
Because there's still too many hurts.
There's a lot of hurt.
There's a lot of hurt.
I mean, if you look at society today, there's a lot of hurts from past wars that should be done and over with. So, well, I didn't mean to get political with that. But this is the political. The Mandalorian is kind of political in some degrees.
It is because
Star Wars is political.
Star Wars is political because it's dealing with what's happening in the big politics. You know, yay, they won the war, they defeated the Empire, but now what do we do?
Exactly. So it's following a bounty hunter, and we've learned quite a bit about the Mandalorians. And if you're a diehard Star Wars fan, you're already like checking out of this podcast because you're like, how do you not know what a Mandalorian is? But I legitimately didn't really understand the concept that it was an order, like it was a almost a religion.
It was similar to what the Jedi originally were.
Yeah.
So, which I kind of knew. I did not. They've gotten a bit into the history, and reading through fan theories, I have learned more about the history of the Mandalorians.
Have you?
Yes.
So what's been the most interesting thing about the Mandalorians you've learned so far, reading through the history and stuff?
The most interesting thing, and apparently this was said in one of the movies and I missed it, one of the ones where it had young Kenobi, but when that Mandalore was a planet, but the people who followed the way of the Mandalore, the Mandalorians, the ones that, wear the armor and are bounty hunters, there had been a war and they were all banished to a moon on Mandalore.
Okay.
So you had the normal...
And I remember some of that.
Yeah. You had the normal Mandalorians like, hey, we're from Mandalore. Like, we're Terrans, technically. Right. But then you had the people who followed this path of the warrior who had all been banished to this moon because everyone else was like, y'all are ridiculous.
Exactly. So it's following a particular Mandalorian. Again, it's giving you a lot of history. We don't actually know his name. They just call him Mando.
Yeah.
Or the Mandalorian. And I didn't know that they never took off the helmets. Did you know that?
I think I did, but I'd forgotten. Because again, that same scene where they kind of gave you some history of it in the original movies, Obi-Wan's talking to Jango, and he's going, "You've taken off your helmet." He goes, "Well, we're in times of peace." Right. So it was hinted at. I did not realize that it was such a thing.
Right. That's just crazy. So, all right. So this is, I feel like we can't continue on without getting into the spoilers. Can you?
I feel like we've already spoiled a little bit.
All right. Well, all right. Full on spoiler alert right now. Glix, hit the alarm, please, for spoilers.
Warning. Warning. Spoilers ahead. Continue listening at your own risk.
All right. So now that we're in our spoiler zone, let's get into some details about the series. Okay. Starts off, you have Mando being sent out on a job to hunt down something.
Yeah.
We don't know what he like. It's just like, it's a 50-year-old. It's the bounty. Go get him. Extra money if he's alive. A little less if he's dead. We don't care. And so he shows up on a planet, and he shows up on the planet, and the 50-year-old is what do you call it?
Baby Yoda.
Yeah, there we go.
Baby Yoda.
So the question is, what is Baby Yoda then?
No one knows.
Like, do they have a name for him?
No, they just call him the child. Like in everything that you see put out.
I mean, the species.
No. So Lucas had said that he never wanted anyone to know Yoda species. Even though you had Yoda, you had the female Yaddle, which is a stupid name, George Lucas. Stupid name. But you had the two of them. So he had made the statement that he did not want people to know what race Yoda was.
Right.
I think they may be going to not abolish, but
bring some revelations to it.
Hopefully.
Yeah. So he picks up the Baby Yoda. He first off, he saves the Baby Yoda from being killed. And he takes it back. He turns in the bounty. He gets a whole bunch of this rare metal that makes this traditional Mandalorian armor,
which is like near impenetrable.
Right. It would actually take a glancing blow of a lightsaber, which is pretty cool. And we actually mentioned a little bit of that actually in one of our episodes of Geek Devotions. Check that out, season 4 of Geek Devotions. But so he does this, but he feels bad. Like, he's like, this is a baby. It's a foundling. It's obviously an orphan type of situation. And he himself, being an orphan, he's like, I can't do this.
Yeah.
So he goes back and he rescues the baby. But what's interesting is, while he's kind of scoping out what's going on, we hear the phrase, them talking about how they're trying to get something out of him, like some sort of essence out of him. What do you think that is?
Honestly, I think they're trying to bottle the Force. I think that Yoda's people are naturally sensitive to the Force. We've seen Baby Yoda do things that would not necessarily be... he would have...
He lifted a freaking rhino.
Yeah.
He lifted it in the air.
I mean, it wasn't a rhino, but yeah. Like, you see things... You see that with powerful Force users. I think that whatever this race is naturally powerful in the Force, because there's no way when he was born, he wouldn't have been able to go through the Jedi school, which is probably why he survived, because somebody has said that he's about the same age as Anakin.
Right. No, not Anakin.
Not Anakin?
No, not Anakin at all.
Was
He's
it
about
Rey?
the age of Luke.
Oh.
He's the same age as Luke.
But he still would have been being born around the time where Anakin was killing all the younglings. So that's actually probably what saved him.
Right.
From being killed, because he wasn't there.
Yeah. So he's trying to protect the child. He takes the kid. He betrays the bounty hunters guild, and he's on the run. And so the entire series is him trying to do that. Is trying to protect the kid. So that's the basic story. I don't want to get too much away, but at the same time, the question needs to be asked is this. Well, before we ask that question, let's talk about this. What has been your favorite moment in the series?
There's been a couple. I don't have one favorite moment. I don't know. It's hard to pick.
It is.
Like, anything with Baby Yoda is just stinking adorable. There's a scene where they're having a serious conversation, and they're cutting from Mando and that one guy. That's very specific.
It is very specific.
But they're cutting between the conversation between Mando and that one guy to the Baby Yoda, and he's just staring at a frog.
Oh, yeah.
And the frog's hopping around.
Talking about like the second episode where...
Yeah, it's second or third.
Yeah.
And he's like waddling to the frog, and you're like, what's happening here?
Right. It's like, oh, he's trying to catch the frog. How cute.
Isn't that adorable? And then he eats it.
Like, open mouth, insert...
like, frog is still alive, and he is eating it. It's as big as he is.
He's just swallowing it whole. Like, the legs are kicking. It's like, I know it sounds terrifying,
Mando
but
goes,
it's adorable.
Get that out of your mouth.
But he swallows it. He just looks up like, what?
What? So there's that scene, because that's just the whole get that out of your mouth.
Right.
Is just funny. The fifth episode, his interactions with the lady, where I say his interactions, he is a puppet and he's really not talking.
Right.
But he's super expressive.
I think, and a lot of people have mentioned this, that's probably the success of this, is that it's a puppet. It's not CGI'd in.
Yeah.
Like, it's very grounded. You're not, well, we'll get into that a little bit later. So, all right. So we're scatterbrained, guys. We're everywhere today.
We had no outline for this. We're just talking.
We're just talking this through, but I want to have some structure to it in my head. So I'm going to agree with you. Just about every scene with Baby Yoda is adorable.
Oh my gosh.
It's stinking adorable. I do appreciate the character growth we've had in Mando.
Yeah.
Like, you see this like trouble, like he wants to take care of the kid, and there's this mission that's kind of unexplained about it, but he is after it. Like, he's like, I am protecting this kid no matter what, and I appreciate that.
Yeah, I do too. So there's just so many really cute scenes with him. Later, he's fighting somebody because she thinks that he's after her, and he thinks that she's gonna come after the Baby Yoda, and like he tells the kid, he's like, stay here,
Right.
and tell somebody else to watch him. It's like any small child.
Yeah, and he's just sitting there with a bowl of soup, like at the table. He's like, just eat.
Like any small child, he's like, I'm gonna follow.
Yeah.
And so as they're fighting, all of a sudden he's just sitting there sipping his soup. And he's like, you want some soup?
Oh, this is great. It's great. All right. So that's kind of our thoughts on what we liked about it. Is there anything we didn't like about the series?
I'm trying to think.
Like, I want to be critical. And I know that I've heard people say, like, I've seen online, they're like, it's not that great. You people are just hyping over like a puppet. But I'm like, the story really is kind of good. Like, we have a friend who, she didn't like it. Now, to be fair, she's not a Star Wars person, but she thought it was too ridiculous. Like, she hated she thought it was ridiculous the way that Mando's mask is, and he's using the magnifying glass to look out. She's like, how's this gonna help out? Like, she's pretty critical of it. But
at the same time, this is not her thing.
Exactly.
Like, this is just not her thing at all.
Exactly. So, but I was trying to remove the. Sorry, we had some weird noise in the system, so we lost track of what we were talking about. But we're back. But again, I'm trying to be critical of it. I don't want to just fanboy it. To be fair, us as nerds, we have a tendency to fanboy, or we have a tendency to nerd rage and be like, well, that's not accurate. And like, I remember one time, I'm going to say the story very carefully. We were at an event and we overheard someone complaining that their cosplay was not recognized. Somebody thought they were one character and they're like, no, I clearly have this, so therefore I am this character. And I'm like...
And it was a character from a book series that was a spin-off of another series that unless you read the book series, you would not have even realized this character existed.
Exactly. So it's like, we as geeks, we have a tendency to either fanboy or nerd rage over small details. And so I'm trying not to be that person. Like, okay, so... But I really think it's a good series.
They've done so well with it.
Like, I haven't seen anything bad.
So the only thing that the story is good. It is a tiny bit slow. Like I wish by halfway through the series, I wish we had a little bit more information on Mando at least. Like I can understand keeping the kids' stuff secret for intrigue, but at the same time, that's kind of the appeal.
Right.
Like you don't know what's going on. You don't know what's happening. So while I would enjoy having a bit more background to this person by halfway through the series, it's understandable.
Absolutely. All right. Trying to think if there's anything else we need to cover with this plot. I mean, there's some great elements about it. Let's talk about that. Some great elements. I don't think the series would be as good if Yoda was not a puppet.
I agree.
It's grounded. Like it feels like this is a grounded series. They're not relying heavily on CGI. You have some of that. They're riding the little speed things,
the bikes,
but everything seems to be very grounded.
It harkens.
It feels back. Well, I'm sorry. Go on.
It harkens more back to how Lucas did the originals.
Exactly. I was about to say the exact same thing.
Great minds think alike.
We do sometimes. But yeah, it does. It feels like it's back in that universe. You and I were talking about, especially with this last episode, with it, like this episode 5 takes place on Tatooine, which of course is the home planet for Luke Skywalker.
Which I didn't realize it was Tatooine at first. I was like, oh my God.
Right. But like watching it, when you realize, you're like, it does feel like the first, like it's in that world. Like there's something about the first movie that just, it feels too clean. It's too far out. You know what I'm saying? Like it's like there's a polish to everything.
There's a lot of sand.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
So I'm not sure what you mean by clean.
Well, in episode 1 through 3, there's a gloss to everything. Episode 7, 8, and we'll see how 9 is. There's a gloom to everything. And
then 4, 5, and 6.
Yeah,
are kind of gritty.
Yeah, and it's something. I mean, obviously we're watching remasters now. If you pull out a tape, I have a tape in the house somewhere of from the original stuff.
You said tape.
I did. VHS tape. I have the tape in the house. But, it'll look a little grainy. Like I remember I've seen some side-by-sides of like the HD remaster and the original. I was like, wow, they've done a lot of work.
Yeah.
But even though we've remastered them, there's still a grittiness to it. There's still a level of earthy foundation to it. And this seems to really capture that world for me.
Yeah. I think some of it is based in where everything was. If you think about it, in the first 3 movies, we see Tatooine, we see the Millennium Falcon, we see the planet with all the swamps. I mean, we see things. We see the forest planet with the teddy bears. What are those called?
The Endor?
Yeah, it's Endor. The moon of Endor.
My friend Tasha will yell at me later if we got it wrong.
Ewoks.
The place of the Ewoks.
Yes.
The Caravan of Courage.
No, Dallas. We see all of these places that are very rural. Because that's where the Alliance is. So that's where the rebels are. But the first 3, you really see you see Coruscant, you see Alderman, you see all these planets that are much more, higher class, I guess.
That's the way of putting it.
Like, it's like they're not the sticks.
Right.
The first 3 were all set in the sticks.
Mm-hmm.
These are set in the city.
Sure.
So that could be the difference. And because we're, again, following somebody who's running from the law,
right,
we are back to the sticks.
Exactly. So, and again, I think that's an element of success for it.
Mm-hmm.
The story's been really interesting. It is a little slow at some point in time. The first episode was slow. And it's slow because Mando doesn't talk very much.
No, I think that's honestly why. Because I've noticed this last several episodes, there has been a character that's like bringing something out of him, kind of giving you a look at a side of his traits. Mm-hmm. And I think they're doing that on purpose.
I can see that. One thing I've seen it, but it really clicked for me today when we were watching episode 5, is that in the credits, you have these beautiful,
gorgeous,
like painted scenes in the credits, and it's recapping the story. But if you pay attention, they're not a one for one. They're like, okay, we just take the scene and paint it. It looks like it was the original concept art for the scenes.
Yeah.
And it's gorgeous. I would love to get some of these pictures because they're gorgeous pieces of art. So I don't know. On a scale of like, I don't know, of 1 to 10 lightsabers, 10 lightsabers being pretty legit.
Lit up or just the hilts?
Lit up. It is lit. How do you rate The Mandalorian?
He's better than Jar Jar Binks.
Wow. That doesn't say much.
I like Jar Jar Binks.
I mean the series, not the characters list.
Oh. I don't know. It's hard for me to place it because it's so different, but at the same time, it's so similar. So, like, I'm thoroughly enjoying it. I think I'm enjoying this more than I'm going to enjoy the next movie.
I'm afraid of the same thing. I'm going to give it an 8 because the series isn't over yet.
Yeah.
And I don't... Like, we watched Swamp Thing.
Oh my gosh.
We really like Swamp Thing.
I loved Swamp Thing.
And I was gearing up to go, man, Swamp Thing, that's a great series. And then the ending happened.
I could do without that last episode.
And it just crashed everything.
Everything.
So
I also think somebody said because the way the release dates are coming out, we are getting 2 episodes in a week.
Yeah, I heard they were bumping up the schedule.
We're getting an episode the Wednesday before the next movie comes out, and then the Friday the movie comes out.
Right.
So I think it's going to, somebody said they think it's going to tie in, and I'm scared they're going to ruin it with that, with tying it into the movie.
I don't know. Well, we'll have to see.
Yeah.
We'll just have to wait and see how this plays out. I'm curious about it.
I'd probably give it about a 7, 8. A 7 because I'm hesitant.
Right.
Not because of anything the show has done, but because I am hesitant. That and the lady who's in charge of it, I'm not sure I trust her. But
why not? Why don't you trust this highly paid individual, Celeste, who surely has done all kinds of research into the world of Star Wars to create these series and these movies? Why would you not? Yes.
Do you really want to poke that bear?
Why don't you trust this woman, Celeste? She's highly trained.
Isn't she the one who said that she has no lore to go off of, and that there's thousands of books that are now deemed legends? Hello, pick any of those.
That is legitimately an issue I have with the way Disney is running things.
Because they have somebody who doesn't know what they're talking about in charge.
Exactly.
I can be in charge. I will do the research. I will take that nice big fat paycheck.
Word?
And
Disney?
I won't make all of the fans happy because we're fans and you can't do that. But
sure. Disney, if you're listening, email us at geekdevotions@gmail.com.
I will take the job. I will write fan fiction for you, and as my audition.
All right. Well, guys, with that, I think we're going to kill it. Again, final rating 7 to an 8. It's great. I will say this: if we can bring out a moral in the whole thing,
okay.
It is a great look of what happens when you have a person who has grown up in a situation and they see others in the situation. They're like, I don't want that for them.
Yeah.
And they're going out of their way. That might become a geek devotion.
Yeah.
When the series is over.
We'll see. But you can see that because he has a big heart for this kid, because the Mandalorians took him in and took care of him and gave him a family.
Oh my gosh, Baby Yoda becomes a Mandalorian.
I've already thought about that. Can you imagine the Mandalorian helmet with the ears sticking out?
That'd be awesome. I want this. I want this so badly.
I'll draw it here in a little bit for you.
All right, guys. Well, we're going to close this out. Thanks so much for taking time to listen to our podcast, whether you're listening to it on Apple Podcasts, Google Play, well, not Google Play, Google Podcast.
I mean, you go to Google Play to get to the podcast.
You can. We're on Stitcher. We're on YouTube.
We're on the things.
Yep, we're on the things.
All the things.
Trying to think, do we have any announcements we got to do real quick?
Nope, I don't think so.
Yeah, check out all our
Geek
stuff.
Miss.
It's Geekmas. We got some Christmas style episodes coming up. I'm thinking this past Friday, Celeste, you did one on
The Umbrella Academy.
The Umbrella Academy.
Hazel.
Hazel and Cha-Cha Save Christmas.
So funny. I legitimately enjoyed the humor in the Umbrella Academy.
You need to check that out,
comics.
guys. Yeah. So you got that, and then you have. We're trying to figure out what Friday's going to be. I'm going to have to get into it. It may be Batman Noel. We're working on it. The Geek Miss this year is themed off of comics. Right. So that's what we got going on. So check out all of our stuff, our Facebook page. We're going to be uploading our Geek Devotions episodes up too. Mm-hmm. If you're curious why, check out my quick video I did week before last. It was before Thanksgiving. Yeah, called We May Have to Leave YouTube. There's just some stuff coming down the pipeline with COPPA and the way YouTube runs things, so we're not sure of our future on there right now. Yeah. So we're starting to upload stuff on the actual Facebook page. Yeah. So it's kind of cool. Yeah. All right. So let's get anything else? No, I think we're good. All right, let's land this plane. Hey, Glicks, pull out the landing gear. All right, guys. Well, until next time, stay devoted. Peace and love.